that we can. This is going to be a TVP. This is the STC versus Slayers Arthur. Of course, both of these players have training day in, day out, and we'll see what they have in store for each other. These are the kind of players that do end up seeing each other on ladder occasionally. All right, so spawning in the northwest spawning position, we have our blue Protoss player, Slayers Arthur, and spawning in the westmost spawning position, we have the STC. Now, the STC early on had a lot of amazing games. He was actually qualifying for a lot of foreigner tournaments as well. So it's nice to see that he's still playing and he's still interested in continuing his game style. I'd love to see a big comeback from the STC, but it's been quite a while since he's had any huge results, as far as I know. Of course, I've been a little bit out of commission. I've been traveling around the world just here and there, and so I haven't had the chance to watch through all the Code S that I would like to, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you got to do what you got to do. So I will actually be attending Anaheim, which is something that I'm hugely excited for, and there's going to be 3 tournaments going on in Anaheim. I think 3 separate tournaments. We have the North American qualifiers for the Blizzard Championships. We have actually the Spring Championships for MLG, which is the actual Anaheim event, and then we're actually going to have a 3rd tournament, which is it's an exhibition tournament specifically for Korean Brood War pros. And they're actually getting the best Brood War players out to play in this thing. Absolutely unbelievable. Flash, Jaedong, Bisu, Fantasy, Calm, I'm trying to remember the list off the top of my head, Stork. These are just tremendous names. Just absolutely unbelievable names in Brood War coming out for this kind of a thing. Alright, so we see the STC going for a command center first, which isn't that surprising. This map is huge. Rush distances are huge. Of course, in TVP specifically, you have to be a little bit worried about that, given the fact that the defender's advantage doesn't mean as much as you might expect it to because of warp gate research. But so you'll see most Terran players kind of go for a 1-Rax gasless expand, but the STC, Balls of Steel, says, I'm just going to go for command center first. Slayers Arthur, on the other hand, has that gateway down. He's grabbing his 2nd gas, so he's not going to be looking to go right for that expansion anytime soon, unless he cancels this gas and tries to get it down just because he can, but that just wouldn't be a good idea. If he's going for the 2nd gas, he's going to want to tech up, maybe even get a couple more gateways down, and maybe go for that robo. A lot of Protoss players will opt to get the robo down fairly early. That way they can defend against any more, say, Marauder all-ins. And they can also get that OBS out really fairly early, especially with that patch that just recently came out for Protoss players, the buff for the Observer. It's a 30-second build time instead of 40-second, which is actually hugely useful. It means that observers are just going to take up less. They're going to take up less time on your robotics facility, so that you can get out Colossi as quickly as possible, or Immortals as well. And it also kind of lends itself towards a Protoss style that focuses on map control, almost in a Zergish fashion. Because it's only 30 seconds, you can get that many more observers out right on time and keep them all around the map everywhere you could possibly imagine. So this Stalker was able to kill the scouting SCV that came out here. We see that Chrono Boost completely being used on this warp gate research. We see 2 more gateways going down for a total of 3. There's a probe out here building a pylon. It looks like Slayers Arthur is looking to end this game very quickly. He wants to keep the STC on his toes. And a best of 3, you can afford to do this kind of a build. And in fact, the STC moving around the entire side of the map isn't going to find anything, because the pylon is now going down here. He can actually warp onto this low ground if he'd like to, just making sure that he has vision down there. But there are just a few these Marines out here, and the Stalker. Ooh, beautiful control from STC, pulling back the wounded soldiers, so that Stalker can't actually take anything out. Probe is down. Let's see, is he still only on 3 gates? Looks like warp gate research is finished, and we're going to see warp-ins over here. We see 3 Stalkers come down. There is 1 sentry here. That should be used for Guardian Shield. I mean, 1 sentry isn't going to be that good, but the STC actually knows what's coming at this point. He's actually throwing down 2 bunkers, and if that 2nd bunker gets up, then he's going to be totally safe. There's no Immortals here to even deal with that. The thing is, if Slayers Arthur comes in before that 2nd bunker finishes, it's going to be a different story. The 2 bunkers should be enough to take this out, especially with only 1 sentry. Here we go, 2 sentries. But even then, force fields aren't going to be enough to deal with this. There are no zealots to tank damage. There are no zealots at the front. Here comes a 2nd pylon, and Slayer's Arthur's going to move in. A third bunker coming down. Good force field, blocking off these SCVs. One bunker is going to go down, which means the Marines are going to come on out. They're able to immediately facilitate that second bunker. SCVs are in a perfect position, just delaying this a little bit longer. That third bunker coming down, SCVs need to go over and build that immediately. And even if some SCVs do go down, it doesn't look like those bunkers are going to be enough. Still now coming out, this is a huge bit of aggression, just continuously. Slayer's Arthur completely and fully in trying to go forward with this. The thing is, he's actually being a little bit hesitant because he's trying to macro up the best that he can. He's only on 3 gateways right now instead of 4. Interesting decision. So it looked like he wanted to have the opportunity to come out of this, but it's just not going to be able to do that. He has a ton of SCVs repairing right now, and these Stalkers will be able to out-DPS the repair. It did take quite a long time. Marauders are finally able to come out as that tech lab has been down for quite a while, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough. SCVs are definitely going to have to be pulled to try to do this. Another bunker goes down successfully, and all these SCVs are going to repair, and that's going to push off Slayer's Arthur for just a little while longer. He's been letting these bunkers finish one after one after one, and he can't do that. He has to try to take down those SCVs, but there's so many down here that it's just so hard to deal with. The STC actually needs to think about making some supply depots back in his base. If he's only at 46 supply, that was probably a little bit of a negative way to deal with this. Stalkers are now moving around the back of his natural mineral line, and SCVs have been pulled to try to deal with them, and they will be able to take everything out, especially with the help of this Marauder and these Marines. But at this point, it looks like Slayer's Arthur is still committing to it, but once it's actually gets cleaned up, he's going to be in a position where he's going to have to GG. I don't think there's anything that Arthur can do to try to get back into this. If we check out that income tab, we see that our Terran player is well ahead. His opponent's on actually one more. He's actually on one more probe, but that doesn't really mean anything because we do see Bunker going down at his natural. He's going to be unable to expand for just a little while longer. These Zealots will come out to do that, but if we look at what the STC has, he has mules, he has the upgrade advantage, he has army back here, so he has a defender's advantage and can deal with pretty much anything that Slayer's Arthur can send his way immediately. So as long as he plays very, very safely, he'll continue getting his upgrades, and he'll continue building up his army. His biggest problem is that he's not keeping up with his macro, and that he keeps supply blocking himself. So he's going to have to find a way to spend that money. So he should be throwing down some more buildings. We do see a factory. We have 3 barracks down right now. Reactor, tech lab. I'd love to see a starport come out immediately after this. I don't even think he has to worry about going towards making a third base, because the STC is in a position where he has to go all in right now. I mean, his build was already fairly all in, but at this point he can't even afford to put down a Nexus. If he did that, he would be so far behind, the STC can just move across the map. It'd be interesting to see a robotics facility come down and try to do some harassment, but instead he's just going to put everything he has into gateways and try to warp in more units. So this is going to be the last attempt. If Arthur can hold here, or excuse me, if the STC can hold here, that's going to be it for Arthur. Beautiful. The SCV coming out here is going to scout this entire army out front. Another pylon going down. It's 58 supply to 63. If we check those army supplies, we see that's 34 to 29. So both players even, fairly even. And the STC, with this defender's advantage, with these bunkers down, is going to be in such a nice position to hold this off. He's even getting a third bunker. I love this. He is so Marauder heavy that, this isn't really going to be that much damage. I don't think Concussive Shell is out. Let's check. Oh, Concussive Shell is done. Zealots are going to take so long getting in onto those bunkers to try to tank that damage. We have 4 Stalkers coming forward. 1 SCV sees it. And they're not going to be able to attack into this quite yet. In fact, there's a factory going around the side. Oh, medevacs are about to pop out. Unfortunately, the STC supply blocked again. That is so sloppy coming out. He has this factory coming over to try to scout what his opponent's doing, but I can't believe how sloppy the STC is playing and still coming out ahead. I mean, those supply blocks are absolutely detrimental to everything he has, but luckily for him, Slayer's Arthur was in a position not able to do anything, but here come the Zealots, and here come the Stalkers. There are SCVs on these bunkers. Beautiful force fields going down, locking everything in, but those so that those Zealots are going to be able to take a lot of damage. SCVs coming forward, but they're stuck behind. The force field is the STC going to be able to hold here? That's the question. Stalkers dealing a ton of damage, but with this very, very Marauder heavy army, they're going to be able to stim forward, and that's going to be it for Slayer's Arthur. He knew that that's the last that he was going to be able to do. So the STC takes game 1, and that's going to put him 1-0 over his opponent. This is a best-of-3, and it's the first semifinals round, so there's another semifinals to see after this, and then the grand finals for whichever player is going to get 100